What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the TB Toycast YouTube channel. Today we are unboxing from the Mattel Elite Survivor Series wave. It is Bushwhacker Luke, aka Luke Doink. Oh man, what a fun little 2-in-1 figure this was. Of course, right here I've got Bushwhacker Butch. We unboxed this early on the channel, and I did make a decision on that day that I'm going to start unboxing tag teams more back to back, just to kind of keep them together. Still not a big fan of the neck there because of how the Doink head was so far open. It just didn't, I don't know, it just doesn't work. I'll show you, like his mouth's wide open, so it didn't really work for that. But, lessons learned. Again, the Bushwhackers have been a fun tag team for the Golden Era. 1993 is when this Survivor Series event took place, which was kind of late in the career of the Bushwhackers. You didn't see them a lot in the mid 90s. I think about 91, 92. They kind of rode off into the sunset. Probably about 92. You didn't see them a lot, but they did show up for the 93 Survivor Series, and they showed back up a little bit in like 95, 96, sporadically here and there. And this was a fun night where they teamed with Men on a Mission, all four donning the Doink headgear and the face paint, which was a lot of fun and a really fun way to celebrate that with this line. And the Bushwhackers, for such a fan favorite tag team of the early 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, not a lot of fanfare today. I don't think their figures really set anyone on fire. They kind of wore the camo and the singlets, not like nothing super flashy, but back in the day, go back and watch those videos. Everyone's doing the Bushwhacker march, the hands up and down and whatever that was. But it was a big deal. I remember their Hasbro figures were huge. Everybody loved those. I remember my dad buying those for me as a kid and just thinking how cool that was to get Bushwhacker figures, So, they had a few Mattel figures over the years. They had an Elite Legends 2-pack. There was a Toys R Us exclusive. I think it's actually fairly valuable today, but it warmed the pegs back in the day. And they had a battle pack where they kind of wore more of the green colors. Also warmed the peg. So, I could see Mattel being a little leery on Bushwhackers. Like, okay, how bad do we need to do this? But I think this was a bit more of a home run because it was something different. And like I said, the 2-in-1 aspect I think was definitely a game changer for a lot of people. I do know a big question asked when these were shown, will this include a second head? Because we just saw the Doink heads, and when they revealed that, everyone was like, oh, awesome, I'll definitely get those. Now I have, Luke Doink and Bushwhacker Luke, which is a lot of fun. Of course, Build-A-Figure for this wave is Adam Pearce, which I believe is his first time in the line, as the Raw general manager, as we know, Survivor Series, Bushwhacker Luke on the side there. Full wave, not buying all of these, so I'll not be building Adam Pearce, but of course, Bushwhacker Butch and Bushwhacker Luke as the Doink the Clown versions of themselves, which is really cool. And then more current day guys, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Definitely not a bad wave. I do like the pay-per-view waves, along with the Build-A-Figure aspect. And usually, Mattel, the WWE side of it anyway, they do a good job of making the Build-A-Figure something that you don't necessarily think would show up anywhere else. And I think that's a fun aspect, right? I know Hasbro with Marvel Legends kind of makes it a can't-miss figure to get you to buy, 6 or 7 figures sometimes. This kind of makes it where, man, if you really want an Adam Pearce, this is the only way you're going to get him, which I think is definitely fun. It says here, born in New Zealand, height 5'11", weight 242 pounds, finisher the battering ram. As we both remember, I think Butch would hold a reverse kind of chin lock or reverse front face lock and run Luke's head into their opponents. Can't get more devastating than that. And the Survivor Series 1993 match that was supposed to feature 4 Doinks, the Bushwhackers and Men on a Mission pulled the prank with the ultimate switcheroo. Career highlights, WWE Hall of Fame inductee. As we know, the Bushwhackers entered the Hall of Fame, I want to say around 2014, 2015. Stole the show that night, in my opinion. Had everybody doing the Bushwhacker March, which was a lot of fun. I know we lost Butch a couple of years back. But Luke is still around. I think Luke even makes some independent appearances these days. So Bushwhacker Luke still doing his thing. Definitely a fun-loving tag team. And, I'm anyone Golden Era pretty much is going to be a sure thing that I'm going to pick them up. Because when I first started, collecting Elites again, because, a lot of people have been hot and cold on this line because it's so massive. But I kind of told myself only Golden Era, and then that switched. Okay, only Golden Era and New Generation. See, empty box. But that was kind of my no twist ties. Are you kidding me? Oh gosh, Spoke too soon, and his hair fell off. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. What have I done? Okay. There we go. I don't think the the Butch hair came off. I know the original Doink, that was that way, but I don't think that was the way for the Butch. At least I don't remember it falling off. Maybe it's just on there a little bit better. Getting rid of that. So let's look at this. We got the Adam Pearce head. Anyone who wants to make a custom Adam Pearce, I think, would be a really good job, because I would love to get him as a wrestler. A few years ago, he was supposed to wrestle Roman Reigns, I think, at the 2021 Royal Rumble. I was super into that. I thought that was like, oh, that's going to be super cool, because, most people remember Adam Pearce from Ring of Honor and stuff, and I thought, man, how cool will that be? Like his only WWE match ever. And didn't end up happening. I don't remember why, but they ended up switching it around, and it did not happen. So what are you going to do? Set Luke up right there. Very, very cool. Well, he fell off. That's the classic Luke head. Looks pretty solid from what I could tell. Got a couple of extra hands, but I feel like the hands he's got work. So nothing too spectacular. But let's take a look at this guy. It's got his missing teeth there, which is nice. All his tattoos, pretty good attention to detail. I feel like this is one figure, if they missed the tattoos, no one would have probably said much. But, and I'll be honest, Luke had a lot more tattoos than I realized. Very tatted up. Classic camo. I feel like they did a good job of, tucking the pants into the boots, which they could have easily, just made like regular camo pants. But Mattel's good about paying attention to detail there, which I do appreciate. No, very, very cool. Looks good. Very cool figure. And this was a fun night in wrestling. I think the Survivor Series, how it used to be with all the traditional Survivor Series matches, was always fun. We don't really see that too much anymore. Usually it's like a SmackDown versus Raw thing. Or it was. Now it's War Games, and I think it even said that on the box. It's all War Games. And I don't dislike that. I just feel like that's not what I remember. I would love for it to be old school, because that's what I grew up on. That's what was fun. But, like I said, definitely a great figure. And definitely not one I would probably have ever guessed they would have made. But, they have the rights to Doink. They have the rights to the Bushwackers. And throwing it in a Survivor Series wave, I think, was a good move. And I'm sure with anyone from Mattel would be able to tell you, trying to come up with guys to fit in a line is probably one of the harder things to do. But, again, I think they do a good job of trying to get everybody in the line that they can. This year's reveals are going to be interesting. As I record this, we have not seen any of the Mania reveals, which I think will be coming up this week, so I'm a little bit predating my recording time here. But it'll be interesting to see when a lot of these guys show up in the lines. We know Demolition is signed. We know King Kong Bundy is signed. Coco Beware, Tito Santana. Oh my gosh. Of course, with Demolition, you've got Crush and all his variations. Possibly Repo Man. We still haven't seen a Jesse Ventura yet. Plus, how about new talent? Guys like the Motor City Machine Guns. Steph Vacker, I think is her name. Julia, we haven't seen them yet. And so many other people in the wrestling world are guys who have maybe updated their looks a little bit. We haven't seen anything with an updated look. So it'll be interesting, but that's what makes it fun, right? And to see all the new stuff Mattel's got coming. Of course, we're going to take this head off. We're going to see classic Bushwhacker Luke. Hopefully this one fits on a little bit better. I believe this one did. Most people had an issue with just Butch. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better. That looks pretty good. Head fits on snug. Again, it was kind of molded to the Doink head with Butch, which I got right here. As you can see, a little bit of a long neck. It's not horrible. I do know if you push the neck down this way, it doesn't look too bad, but when you kind of give it that look, yeah, you really get that big old elongated neck. I think you could probably dribble out the top of the head and fit it on there a little bit better, but I'm not too worried about that. A lot of people bought two versions of these. I didn't do that. I'm pretty notorious for being cheap in that regard, because I'm like, I can move them around. And honestly, I would like to have them displayed as both, but just as the Doink versions is good enough for me. I was the same way with the Jim Neidhart Legends figure that recently came out. I wanted to buy two because I wanted to show his Who gear, but I ended up not doing it. And I'm like, I wish I would have done that now, because I was gonna paint over the boots, make them solid yellow, and that way I have one Who, one Jim Neidhart. But what are you gonna do? Sometimes when you're wanting to buy other figures, you have to make decisions have to be made, as they often say. But no, this is a great figure and a welcome addition to the line. Good to have the Bushwhackers. Good to have both versions of the Doink Bushwhackers. Is that a thing? The Doink Bushwhackers? What are you going to do? But definitely fun. I thank you guys for checking out the TV Toycast YouTube channel. Check out some of my other unboxings. a lot of fun ones recently. How about the Jim the Anvil Neidhart WWE Superstars unboxing? Going very well with the Bret Hitman Hart, which I unboxed a while back. If you're a Transformers fan, how about Wolfang or Jazz, Night Prowler, or Black Arachnia, all available in the archives. Check those out as well. How about, if you like those guys, Big and Rubbery, the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, Dusty Rhodes, and the Powers of Pain, all available in the archives. If you're a Super 7 fan, or a fan of Thundercats in general, how about Lion-O and Monkey-In available? How about those new Thundercats Motu-style figures? Those look a lot of fun. Definitely planning to get those. I think the prices, we're seeing a price increase there, but, you know, it is what it is. You got to vote with your wallet sometimes. How about those retro Spawn figures, like Medieval Spawn, Commando Spawn, and Saber, all available in the archives? Or are you a retro fan? You like the retro wrestling figures? How about Epic Toys, Bobby the Brain Heenan? Check that one out. Or Mattel retros with Shawn Michaels or Alundra Blaze? How about Rush Collectibles with the Frankenstein sample, Donald Trump or Chris Van Vliet? All available in the archives. And then, my goodness, what else? How about Hastel Toys, Sensational Sherry, Kurt Fuller from No Holds Barred, of course, and most recently, Waylon Mercy, all available in the archives, so check those out. And also check out Tales of the Toy Box, a new show dropping monthly here on the channel, where I do a deep dive into a very specific toy line. The first episode, of course, on G.I. Joe Street Fighter, a line that I absolutely loved, and it blew me away the first time I saw it, so I had to dive into that. And I'm glad it was episode 1, because I think it's a good way to start it off. So check that out right here on YouTube in the archives. New episodes, I'm hoping to drop about once a month. And I'm already working on episode 2, so stay tuned for that. And, of course, check out the TV Toycast podcast wherever you get your podcast. We have a different main event every episode, as well as talking everything in the news, things we're finding, things we're hearing, things we're seeing, and things possibly we are selling. So check that out wherever you get your podcast. I listen on Apple, but you know there's also on Spotify and many other places people listen to podcasts. So you can find it just about everywhere, I believe. But that's it. That's all I got. Also, hey, one more thing. 100 subscribers, we will be doing a giveaway. So if you want something cool, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm around 60 and change. Once we get to 100, we will be doing a giveaway, and the details will follow. So, and then I think once we hit every milestone number, I think the next one will be 250. When we hit that, another giveaway will be happening. So, you know, it pays to subscribe to the channel. You can get some free stuff. Definitely cool stuff. But anyway, thank you guys for checking out the TB Toycast YouTube channel. That is Bushwhacker Luke, or Luke Doink. And we will see you guys in the toy aisle.
Yeah. One more time. It ain't over till I say it's over. So lock the cage up, cause this is a takeover. The wait's over. If this the final time we meet, then you'll be on your back on my feet. Then I'll tip the cage over as a hangover. I'm super fly so I can splash off the top. And I can shut down the shot.